Hello guys, welcome to week 4. We are going to be working on balance today. I want you to make sure that if you feel like your balance isn't the best, that you've got a wall nearby so that on any of the poses you've got a wall to hang on to. And if you don't have a wall that's handy, using something like a stool or a chair also works really well. We're going to start in child's pose, so bring your big toes to touch and take your knees nice and wide. Sit on back and then bring the head down. A couple options here. If the head doesn't reach the floor, you can kind of double up the hands, maybe create fists, or you can take a block under the head. But if the head reaches, just let the elbows sink, let the forearms be heavy, hands be heavy. And just take a moment here to feel the body supported by the ground. So in this position, we have a really big foundation. We've got the tops of the feet, the tops of the shins, the knees touching the mat. We've got the elbows, the forearms, the palms and the fingers. And then we've also got the forehead connected either to a block or to the floor. So we're really sturdy in this position. We're really grounded. And we want to, through all our balancing poses, carry this sensation of groundedness, carry this sensation of connectedness to the ground, even if it only means that a very small portion of the body is connected. So start to deepen your breath now, taking nice big inhales, filling up the back body, and then nice and slowly exhaling that breath out. Just letting go of anything that you don't need. And if you feel okay, you might start to walk those arms further forwards, stretching deeper into the side body, deeper into the ribs, the armpits, the arms. Maybe even coming on to the tips of the fingers here. Then you're going to lift your head. You're going to pull yourself up into tabletop, and we're going to come all the way onto our bellies. So coming onto the floor and bringing our arms, our elbows underneath our shoulders. So just coming into a little sphinx here for a moment. Pulling the chest between the gateway of the arms, finding that back bend. You want to be actively pulling the elbows back as well. So we're just going to do a little quad stretch. So when you're ready, you're going to start to bend your left knee. Right elbow can stay on the floor. You can turn the right hand in as you reach around for your left foot. Now, you're aiming to pull the foot to the outside of the butt cheek. Now, that's probably not going to be possible for a lot of you. And if for any reason at all you can't reach your foot, you can grab a strap, hook the strap on, and hold on to the foot here. Now, once you have the foot in your hand or holding onto a strap, you're then going to try to pull your left shoulder back around so that both shoulders are pointed forwards. And don't worry if this is as far as you can go. If you can push down a little bit more, go for it. And we'll just stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release that foot. Take left elbow back down. You might turn left hand as you bend that right knee, either taking the strap or grabbing hold of that foot and just pulling down. Aiming one day to get that foot to the outside of the right butt cheek. See if you can pull that right shoulder back around so both shoulders are facing forwards, and try to keep the chest off the mat as well. This is going to give you a deeper stretch. Staying here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Releasing that foot. Take your right arm forwards, and we're going to turn onto our right hip. So coming to lie down. Now bend your knees and take the feet on top of each other. And then from here, you can hold your head with your hand. Okay, so balancing your head and take your left hand onto your hip. So I'm going to be talking a lot about your bum, okay, your glutes today. They are really responsible for our balance, so helping us in our balance. So we're going to do a bit of glute work before we get going. Keep your feet connected, and you're just going to lift that left knee and bring that left knee back down. Okay, nice and controlled. Doesn't matter how high that knee's going. Breathe, lifting and lowering. It might not be lifting that high, that's okay. Remember to keep those feet connected. We'll do 3, 2, 1. Okay, let the knees come down. You're going to keep the feet connected, but you're going to lift your feet off the floor. Feet are going to stay glued together, and then we're just going to do the same thing. So lifting the top knee and then lowering it back down. Keep the feet connected. You might start to feel it. Keep breathing. We'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, from here, feet stay connected. You're going to lift your knee, then you're going to straighten the top leg. You're going to rebend the knee, touch the feet back together, and drop the knee down. Okay, let's see if we can do 5 of these. Lift, extend, bring it back, drop it down. Lift, extend, bring it back, drop it down. 3 more. Lift, extend, bring it back, drop it down. Last one. Lift, extend, bring it back, drop it down. Good. Come all the way back onto the belly. Find that Sphinx. You might lift your elbows if you want a little bit more. Just giving that butt a little bit of a break. I'm just going to turn to do it on the other side. You're going to take that left arm out, bringing yourself onto the other side, bending those knees, right hand onto the hip. I like to bend my elbow and support my head, but you can just let your head flop as well. That's an option if your wrist doesn't feel comfortable here. So start with the feet down, feet connected, lift and lower. So this time we're using the right glutes, and specifically we're targeting glute mid and min. So the ones on the outside of the butt, not the back. We'll talk about glute max later, but glute mid and min are used a lot in balance. We'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring the knee back down, lift those feet, keep the feet connected, lift and lower. Try to move with control. Or if your hand on the hip, you're trying to keep that hip as still as you can. Go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Drop the knee. Get ready. You're going to keep the feet connected. Lift, extend, bring it back, drop it down. Lift, extend, bring it back, drop it down. Let's go for 5. Keep breathing. 4, 3, whoo, should be feeling it. 2, 1. Last one here. Oh, bring yourself back onto your belly, and right away you're going to push yourself back into a child's pose, stretching out the glutes. Just releasing any tension you might be holding. Good. And then pull yourself up into tabletop. We're going to tuck our toes right away, find downward dog. Take a couple stretches here. Nod and shake the head. Make sure you're pressing down through the whole of the finger pads. And then either walking the hands towards the feet or the feet towards the hands. Bringing your feet forwards. Grab a hold of opposite elbows. Take a little ragdoll. And then release the arms, and we're going to roll up. So sit back into an imaginary chair, press through the feet, draw the belly button in, and slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Coming all the way up to stand. Good. Okay, so foundation. Think back to that first position when we were in child's pose, how much of the body was on the mat. And now look down, okay? A lot less of the body connected to the mat. Now we depend on these guys, our feet, to carry us pretty much through our whole lives, on different terrain, on different levels, in different conditions. So if it's icy, if it's snowy, if it's slippery, if it's wet, we depend on these guys. But we often don't give them kind of the love that they deserve. So I really want this week for you to reframe your understanding of your feet. If you have any feet issues, by the end of this week, I really want you to appreciate them and be grateful for them. So we're just going to start by finding a little bit wider than normal Tadasana, and just let the arms come down, and then just take a gentle sway from side to side. So all we're doing here is exploring the feet, exploring what parts of the feet are touching into the floor, exploring kind of where the feet grip, where we start to feel off balance. Good. And then change that to going forwards and backwards. And I want you to feel that kind of moment where you're going a little bit too much, okay? And feel the body react to catch your balance. Don't go too intense. I don't want you falling backwards or forwards, but I do want you to kind of find that moment where the balance starts to get a bit tricksy. Good. Coming back to center. We're now going to start to move in a circle, like a pole from the top of your head. And you're moving in a circle, and I want you to kind of feel into all of those parts of the feet. Really, really feeling into them. Good. And then switch the circle around. Feel the toes gripping. Feel the ankles maybe making some noises. Good. And then come back to center. You can take the hands on the hips if you want. You're going to come onto the ball of your left foot, and you're just going to start to kind of massage in a circle around the ball of the foot. Now, what I don't want you to do is collapse in the ankle. So we call this sickling the ankle. Imagine you're wearing an ankle brace and just move in a big old circle here. Okay, so pressing into all the different parts of the ball of the foot. Noticing if there's anywhere that feels kind of tender, uncomfortable, maybe really stiff. Good. Nice. And then we're going to start to come onto the tip of the toe. And then you're going to start to lift that foot off the floor. And you're just taking circles. So if balance is really tricksy, just grab the wall. But just keeping that circle going and getting bigger and bigger. Okay, that left foot is now having to work to keep your balance. And then you're going to switch the circle up. So coming the opposite direction, starting nice and big. And then slowing it down, smaller and smaller and smaller until the ball of the foot's back down and you're going in the opposite direction. And just massaging into the ball of the foot. Again, not letting the ankle sickle, keeping the ankle nice and strong. And then place that foot down. So right foot, lifting onto the ball of the foot, just come in a circle. It doesn't matter which direction. Really trying to press into every part of the ball of the foot, feeling those toes gripping. Also really good for your hip. Try not to lock out the standing knee. That's a really good practice to get into. Again, keeping that ankle nice and solid. Start to come onto the toes until eventually maybe that foot comes off the floor. And you just start to take some circles, starting small, getting bigger if you can. Walls there if you need it. And then switch it up, circle the other direction. Eventually getting smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller until the foot comes back down and you're working the ball of the foot in the other direction. So just really kind of feeling into it. Good. Place the feet down, little pedal. So we're going to come into a stretch on the front of the ankle. So again, if you need to, you can hold onto the wall or hands can just come onto the hips. Let's take our right foot behind us. Toes are pointed, so they're going behind you. It doesn't matter how far back the foot is. Bend in both knees and just start to send the weight kind of into the front of that foot. Now, the further back you go, the more intense the stretch will be. Okay, and we're just going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring that foot back forwards. We'll go straight to the other side. So stepping back with that left foot, bend a little bit in both knees and see if you can send some of the weight into the top of that foot. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring that foot back forwards. Pedal out the feet, giving them a little bit of a shake. Okay, so what I'm going to do first with us is a closed eye balance. Now, it's not as scary as it sounds. We're not really going to be doing anything too wild. Look at me first. So all you're going to do is close your eyes. You're going to take the weight into one leg And then extend the other leg until you're just on the tip of the toe. Now, once you're on the tip of the toe, you're gonna see if you can lift that foot off the floor. Now, you can see already my balance is quite tricksy. My arms, okay, I'm gonna use them to kind of help to support, like counterbalances. Now, again, if you need to, you can use the wall, but I want you to try to trust your body. If you get scared, all you have to do is touch the toe down, okay? Just toe comes straight down if you get scared, but try to keep the eyes closed. Okay, so take the feet a little bit wider than hips distance, hands by your sides, and just feel the torso track through the center of the pelvis. So you feel nice and stable, nice and sturdy. Notice if you're locking at the knee joints, just take a baby bend. Good. We're gonna close our eyes now and just listen. I promise I'm not gonna do anything too fast. So eyes closed, and then just slowly start to tip the weight into your left leg, okay? Feel that left leg taking the weight, and then just slide the right foot out to the side until you're on the right big toe. Good. Now from here, you can start to play around with lifting the toe just a little bit. Maybe if you get a little bit scared, you touch the toe back down. But once you get to that point where you can lift the foot off the floor, notice what's happening in that right foot. So you've got 33 joints in the foot and the ankle, which is wild, okay? There is so much movement and capacity here. So just feel all of that articulation happening in the foot. Again, not locking out the knee joint. And now I want you to open your eyes and look at something. Don't look at the screen. Look at something unmoving, maybe something on the floor, something on the wall. And notice how much easier the balance becomes. If we look at something, we focus the mind, the balance becomes easier. I always say balance is about 80% mental, what's going on upstairs, and then 20% what's happening in the rest of the body. Good, okay, now reclose the eyes. And notice how as soon as you take that focus of where the eyes are looking, the balance immediately becomes so much harder. Good, touching your right foot back down. Bring the torso back through the center of the pelvis. Let the arms hang. Take a moment here, just feeling that stability. Good, okay, we're gonna start to take the weight in the right foot. Slide the left toe out. Take some time. When you feel ready, maybe lifting that toe off the floor. Remember, if you get scared, just touch the toe back down. Find your breath. Remember, you can move those arms slightly. Almost imagine you're moving through molasses, like you've got resistance to push against. Pay attention to what's happening in that right foot, all of those calibrations. Good, now open the eyes, boom. Find that moment, find that stillness, find that drishti. This is where we look. Good, from here, you're gonna reclose the eyes. Notice how much more challenging the balance becomes almost immediately. See if you can stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring that foot back down. Whew. Pedal it out. Okay, so what is the point of that? Well, it's really good to strengthen the feet, okay, those little balances, but also it's teaching you how important our drishti is, okay, where we look to help with balance. Now, as we go through this week, you're obviously going to need to look at me to understand what you're doing at the very beginning. But then once you have looked at me, I want you to focus on that thing that you're looking at. Maybe it's a mark on the wall, maybe it's something on the floor, your water bottle, etc. This is going to really help with your balance. Okay, so the first balance that we're going to have a look at today is tree pose, okay? In Sanskrit, this is called Vrikshasana, tree pose. I always imagine Vrikshasana as a tree. I don't know why. Something about the K and the V makes a tree look to me. I don't know why that is. So we are going to now be depending on one leg to hold our balance. So tree pose, there are 3 options. I'll show you them quickly. Option 1, toe is on the floor, heel is in the side of the leg. Option 2, foot is in the calf muscle. Option 3, foot is in the thigh, okay? Most of us probably won't get to the thigh today. That's all right. What we want to avoid is this, okay? It's really easy to put our foot into this kind of shelf that our knee creates, but your knee doesn't bend that way, okay? Our knees bend this way. They don't glunk go out to the side. So if you're slamming your foot here, you're pushing your knee joint in a way that it doesn't want to go. So this is not what we want to do. Alrighty, so your wall is there if you need it. You're going to start to take the weight into your left leg. Now notice how when you take the weight into your left leg, you might be like dropping in your hip, hitching a little bit. So come onto the ball of your right foot, and then I want you to pull the muscles of your outer left hip and butt cheek in. Yes. Release, boom, pull, boom, okay? This action is what you want to be doing in your balance. We don't want to be hitching, and I see it all the time. People are in this kind of position. Look at my spine. There's nothing good about this. What I want to be able to do is boom. And what muscle's working? It's my glute mid and min. So take your hand onto your outer butt cheek, let it flop out, and then squeeze the muscles that are under your hand. Ha. Do it a couple times. Ha. One more. Doof, okay? So we're training this outer butt cheek area to fire. And this is going to stabilize your pelvis, okay? We don't want to be doing this because we're like, everything is just totally collapsed. There's no engagement. And also your belly is going to be really soft. So still on the ball of the foot, pull the glute in. Now draw the navel in. So let it go. Belly soft, butt out. And then take the hands onto those spots. Pull the butt in, draw the navel in. Good. Okay, let's try it on the other side. So take the weight into the right leg this time. Ball of the left foot. Take your hand onto your belly, hand onto the butt. Squeeze the butt, draw the belly in. Oof, let it go. Squeeze, draw in. And notice that when you draw in as well, your chest lifts because you feel prouder, you feel taller. Okay, so those activations is what we want to be doing. We want to again make sure that we're not locking out the standing knee. So important. I don't know if you've looked at or read about architecture and skyscrapers, how they're built now. They used to be built so there was no movement. Okay, they were rock solid. And if something's rock solid, if there's anything too intense, too much, there's no bend. So what will it do? It'll break. Okay, that's the only option. Where now skyscrapers are built with a little bit of movement. They all allow a little bit of movement. So as the wind goes, it sounds counterintuitive. Why would you want something to move? But because of that, the pressure gets kind of mediated through the whole building rather than into one place where it's pressure, 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 and eventually it's going to break. So the movement helps, and that's essentially what you want to be thinking about. You're a skyscraper right now, and you don't want to be locking out this area because then nothing else can support it. Okay, so weight back into that left leg, pull the butt cheek in, draw the navel in. Good. From here, you're going to turn your right knee out to the side, okay? Now, turn the right knee out to the side and just turn the whole body. What you're going to notice is that your pelvis can rotate quite a bit on your femur, okay? So your femur bone is moving around and you've got a lot of movement. Now, what we don't want to do in tree pose is be on this kind of wonky donkey angle. So we use something called torque. So knee, right knee's out to the side, heels just resting in the side of the leg. Now I want you to torque your left leg out to the side. So you're torquing right knee out, but you're also torquing left leg out. And you're gonna feel the glutes switch on, and you're gonna feel a lot more tension in the pelvis. Release, let it go. Straighten, engage the butt, draw the belly in. Let's take that knee back to center. As you draw this right knee out, torque the femur out. Good. Lots of stuff going on versus just this lazy, nothing really happening. So let's give it a go on the other side. So standing on the right leg now. Okay, ball of the foot, squeeze the butt, draw the navel in, don't lock out the knee. Now just turn the left knee out to the side and see how much your femur can move around. Okay, quite a bit. There's no kind of stability or control. Also, your knee is not really going to enjoy this because your pelvis is going to be moving and your knee is going to be taking that torque. So come back to center, bring the knee to center. Start to torque your right leg out to the side as you take your left knee out to the side. You're going to feel lots happening. Good. Squeeze the butt, torquing the femur bone out as you take that knee out. Your knee might not be able to go as far, but it's a trick, okay? So it's not actually the openness in the pelvis that's letting that knee open. That's as far as my knee can go. But if I stop torquing this leg, I can take my knee out much further, but all I'm doing is turning my pelvis. I'm not opening my hip, okay? Let it come down. So you've essentially come into tree now in the simple position. So let's do it a bit prettier. So take the weight into your left leg. Good. Coming on to, take the weight into your left leg, coming on to the ball of your right foot, and start to turn the knee out to the side. Torque, engage the butt. Now bring the hands to heart center. Good. Now see if you can just pull the whole foot into the leg. Okay, so you're just sucking the toes off the floor and hugging them into the leg. Keep squeezing this butt cheek, keep twerking the leg out to the side, keep taking the knee out to the side. If you want to, you can take your hands out. If you want to, you can bring the hands up. Slide the shoulders down, okay? So all you're doing is taking that thumb, dialing it down, and keep looking at one thing. So stop looking at the screen if you're looking at the screen. Choose that one focal point. We'll see if we can hold this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands back to heart center. Draw that knee forwards. Place that foot down. Good. Shake it out. Sometimes I really like to do hula hoops after a balance. They're a nice way to kind of release any tightness. Good. Okay, so other side. Taking the weight into the right leg this time. Right away, make sure you're not, boom, dropping. Engage that glute. Onto the ball of the foot. Start to torque the femur bone out as you take the knee out, hands to heart center. Okay, from here, can you just suck the toes into the side of the leg? Draw the navel in, lift through the sternum. Maybe you stay here. Maybe the hands come out to the sides. Maybe they come up. Again, turn the thumb slightly behind you. This is going to melt the shoulder blades down. Now you can see I'm doing a bit of movement here. Try not to look at me. Look at your spot. It's okay to move. Remember, we're that skyscraper that's got movement. It's going to be windy sometimes when we come into balances. We need to be able to adapt to that movement. We'll stay for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring the hands back to center. Bring the knee to center. Touch the foot down. Let's take a couple hula hoops. Good. Nice. Alrighty. So with the tree pose, the progressions there are simply sliding the foot up a little bit higher. Or if you want to take it higher, I like to bend the standing knee, reach for my foot, and place my foot into the side of my leg. Okay? I'm wearing really slippy leggings, so there's no chance of my foot staying, but you want to push your leg and your foot together to create suction. This requires a lot of hip flexor mobility and hip flexor strength, so it might not be there for you yet. Okay, so let's up it a little bit. We're going to try to hold on to our knee and get a little bit of movement happening in the upper portion of our body. Again, you've got the wall here if this gets a little bit too challenging. So coming onto those feet again, taking the weight into your left leg, come on to the ball of the right foot. Make sure you're not locking out that knee. Pull that hip, pull that glute in. Nice. From here, start to lift the knee and grab onto the knee. Good. Flex the foot that's off the mat. This is going to help. Good. Try to find some height. Breathe. See if you can hold it. Okay, you can see that I'm wobbling around on my standing foot. Open up the chest looking at one thing. Good. Okay, from here, release the left hand out to the side. And then see if you can just open that right knee out to the side. As you do this, torque your left leg bone out to the left. Good. Stay. Don't worry if you wobble out. You can use the wall as well if you're really, really wobbly. Nice. Come back to center. That left hand is going to grab the knee. And then if you can, take your right hand onto your hip. Maybe start to turn the torso towards the right. Maybe bring that hand all the way behind you. So I'll show you from the side. What we want to aim to do is bring that arm behind us and maybe one day look back to that hand. This is really tricky, so don't worry if you're not there. Stay for 5, 4, keep squeezing the butt cheeks in for 3, 2, 1. Good. Come back to center, bring the foot down. Probably need a bit of a hula hoop. You're going to feel that in the glutes. Remember I said the butt is so needed for balance. Okay, so needed. It stabilizes our entire pelvis. Okay, so let's try that on the other side. Taking the weight into the right foot, coming onto the ball of the left foot, making sure that your hip isn't kind of punching out to the side. Pull that glute in. Good. From here, without locking out the standing knee, start to lift the foot off the mat. And if you can, grab a hold of that knee. Flex the standing foot. If you feel really like you can't hold on with two hands, let go of the opposite hand and just take it onto the hip. Good. Breathe here, looking at one thing. Taking that right hand out to the side, pull the right leg bone out to the right as you take that left knee out to the left. Good. See if you can stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back to center. Grab a hold of the knee with the opposite hand. Maybe just taking left hand onto the hip. Maybe turning the torso. Maybe you can bring that hand all the way behind you. Maybe you can look back to that hand. Good. If you can see my standing knee, it is bent. It's not totally straight. It's definitely not locked out. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come back to center. Take the hands onto the hips. Whew. Let's shake it out. Couple hula hoops one way, and then a couple hula hoops the other way. Good. Okay. So those poses, we really need glute mid and glute min. What about glute max? Okay. Glute max is the big butt cheek on the back. For many, many people, it's very, very lazy. One of the poses that is great at strengthening this muscle is Warrior 3. So I'm just going to demo Warrior 3 to start. I'm going to show you what a Warrior 3 should look like and the cheats that people do in classes to get to a deeper Warrior 3. So Warrior 3, I'm going to do it with my hands at my heart center. I take one foot behind me. I slowly start to lift my back foot and I tip. Okay? You can see that my standing knee is slightly bent and my standing or my floating leg is, the toe is torqued down. Now, a couple ways to cheat here. What people do is they turn their foot out to the side and they lift their hip and then they can get that leg a lot higher. Now, that's fine. That is, a balancing pose, but it's not Warrior 3. As soon as we stack the hips, we're not using glute max. We're using glute mid and glute min, okay? When we have the hips square, like so, we're using glute max. So let's have a little play with it. You can use a wall here and turn towards it, or you can stand away from it. We're not actually going to lift our foot really high. So what we're going to do is come to stand, and I want you to not go into your lower back. So try to keep your hip and your rib nice and close to each other. I'll show you what I mean first. So what we're trying to do is get just glute max to lift our back leg. So we're just lifting and lowering with glute max. Now what we don't want to do when we do this is this. So that we're taking it into the lower back. So you want to keep the back really nice and strong, and you won't be able to come as high because just the glute is working. Okay, so let's start balancing on our left leg. You can take your hands onto your hips if you want. You can take your hands, maybe one finger onto the hip, one finger onto the rib. Look at one thing, slide onto the right big toe. Good. Now from here, flex that foot so the toe comes off the mat and just start to take little presses. Okay? You should feel the butt working. I don't want you going, and bringing yourself all the way back into that back bend. So just little presses here, using the glute. We'll do another 10, 9, keep that belly in, 8, toe points down, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, good. You should feel that. You should feel that a lot. You should feel that in your stabilizing leg. You should also feel that in the glute. Okay, let's try the other side. So, hands on the hips, keeping that belly contained, not going into the back. Slide the left toe back. Good. Flex the foot, toe comes off the floor. And we just do little pulses, nothing massive. For 10, 9, you can use the wall. 8, 7, keep that belly contained. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring that foot down. Couple hula hoops. Just releasing any tension. Good. Okay. So coming into a deeper variation of Warrior 3. Now, don't worry about getting your body into that T position. Instead, I want you to think like a teeter-totter. I hope that you have teeter-totters in the UK. So your back leg is going to be the bottom of the teeter-totter, your head's going to be the top, and they're going to work in tandem. Now, what you don't want is that the head is ever going to come too low to the floor. So you don't want to end up looking like that, okay, where the head is coming really low. You want to be just kind of finding that equilibrium between the two of them. And your Warrior 3 will probably look a bit like this at the start. Because what you're going to want to do, because the hamstring, the leg that's standing, is going to get too tight, you're going to start to turn the toe out to get yourself lower. And we don't want to do that. Okay, so let's give it a go. Take hands to heart center. And then you're going to take the weight into the left foot. Now bend your left knee. Okay, don't worry about having it straight. And then slide your right foot back. If you're scared, use the wall. Then from here, just like we did at the start, just lift the foot off the mat. Now, to avoid taking that big arc in the back, as the foot lifts, we hinge from our hips. Now, you're going to start to feel this in the standing leg. Dial that toe down. You want to feel the inside of your right thigh peeling down, okay? It's going to make it a lot more intense. Keep peeling the inside of the thigh down. Kick into that foot. See if you can hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, good. Shake it out. Remember that you're doing that teeter-totter. Remember when I said if you were up and you weren't sure what I meant by dialing the inner thigh in, is that you're rolling the hips out, you're rolling the hip down, and you're taking the inner thigh down and towards the other leg. So let's give it a go on the other side. Hands to heart center. Slide, this time, your left foot back. Soft bend in your right knee. Look forwards, slightly down, then start to lift that foot. Flex the foot, and maybe start to hinge in those hips. Dial that toe down, wrap the inner thigh in. Good, so that foot should be flexing down. Stay for 5, draw the navel in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice, bring the foot down, hands on those hips. Going a couple of times one direction and a couple of times the other. Good, nice work, guys. Okay, so one more little bit of balance before we come onto the floor and give this class a little bit of a rest is essentially working our hip flexors. So we just went into extension, okay? Extension is opening up the hips, and we're now gonna come into what's called flexion. Flexion is shortening the hip. So when we bring the thigh up. Now, your rectus femoris, which is your quadricep muscle, is the muscle that we're gonna really, really work here. So you can use a wall for this, doesn't matter, or you can bring your hands onto the hips, okay? So either holding onto the wall or hands on the hips. Take the weight into your left leg, slide your right foot forwards. Then flex the foot so the foot comes off the mat. Look forwards at one thing. Try to keep your shoulders over your hips rather than leaning back. And we're just gonna lift our leg a little higher. Good, take an inhale. As you exhale, see if you can lift your leg a little higher. Start to feel that in the hip. As you exhale, see if you can lift a little higher. Feel it in the hip. See if you can lift a little higher. We got one more, see if you can lift a little higher. Woo, good. Let that leg come down, swing it a couple times just to release any tension. This is also really good for the hip. Good, take it on the other side. So again, if you want to hold onto the wall, that's fine. Otherwise, hands on the hips. Left foot forwards, flex the foot, balancing on that one leg. Draw the navel in, try not to sit back into an imaginary reclining chair. Take an inhale. As you exhale, squeeze this muscle, lift it a little higher. Good, we got 5 like this. Every exhale, a little higher. Don't have to go to max on that first one. Good. 2 more. A little higher. Stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Just let it swing. Let it swing, releasing any tension. Ah, good. Pedal it out. Nice. Let's come into a really lovely chair before we come onto the floor. So big toes come to touch. You're gonna sit back into that imaginary chair, squeeze the thighs together, draw the navel in. Arms are gonna come up. Breathe here. Sit a little lower, lift the toes a little higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you lift onto the balls of the feet? And then can you lower down? Don't worry if you can't, you can just come straight to the bum. Balancing on the toes here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Either bring the hands down and bring the butt onto the floor if you can. See if you can bring the hands forwards and slowly lower down. Nice. Okay, let's take that really relaxed, wide butterfly pose. So soles of the feet together, feet nice and far away from the pelvis, and then round and let the head hang heavy. Catching your breath. Nice big inhales and exhales. And then gently draw yourself all the way back up. Okay, we're gonna have a little play with something. I absolutely love teaching this. Don't worry if you flop all over the place, okay? Just have some fun with it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your big toes, you're gonna draw the heels in towards you, you're just gonna see if you can balance on your butt, okay? Doesn't matter if the legs are straight or not. So option 1, legs stay totally bent. Option 2, you come into almost like a half happy baby. Option 3, the legs straighten. That might not be possible for loads of you. So from here, just watch me first. You're gonna roll back, and then you're gonna see if you can roll back up into that seated position. You might slam the feet down, or you might look a bit like a dead bug, okay? But just have some fun with it, rock and roll, see if you can come back up, and then roll back. Maybe playing around with trying to straighten those legs, rolling back, rocking back up, maybe the feet slam, okay? Try to use less momentum, more core. Just try it 3 more times, doing the best you can. Really trying to focus on one thing, lifting the heart. Last one here. Good, coming up. Wherever you are, release your toes. Let's see if we can balance on the bum here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it back, roll onto the back, take a knee in each hand, and just gently rock from side to side. Good. Nice. Take your left foot onto the floor, cross your right foot onto your left knee, and just push your right knee away from you, using your right hand. Either staying here if you want a little bit more, lift the left foot off the floor, interlace the fingers around the back of that left thigh, and let the head come down. If that's too intense, just stay in that first option, where you're just simply opening up the knee. Good. If you have the left foot lifted, bring the left foot back down. Keep the right foot where it is and just drop the knees to the right. Arms might come up and over the head. Just opening up through that left hip, left thigh. Good. Lift it back up. Take that right knee, or right foot rather, onto the floor. Bend your left knee and place your left foot onto your right knee. Using your left hand, just ease that left knee away from you. Notice how that feels. If you want a bit more, lift the right foot, interlace the fingers, let the head come down. Again, if that's too intense, you can just let go and keep pushing. And just take 5 nice deep breaths here. And if your right foot's lifted, let it come back down. You're gonna let both of those knees flop out to the left, bringing the arms over the head if that feels nice. This time just letting the left foot and gravity open into the right hip. And then slowly come back up, taking the feet onto the floor, extending one leg and then the other, bringing the arms down by the sides of the body. And just start to bring yourself into your Shavasana. If for any reason at all you want to bend the knees, if that feels better, you can take the feet wide, let the knees knock in, go for it. If you'd like a blanket or some socks, grab them now. And just closing your eyes. And again, using this time to practice your own Shavasana. So I'm not going to bring you out. I want you to lay here until you kind of feel yourself waking back up out of it. Your body is a really good place to start in terms of knowing how long you should hold a pose. So let the body become still. Maybe seeing if the mind, the emotions, and the energy follows.